What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Jordan Kurtz with comments for the Peanut Gallery and the MMA Plug, powered by Mile High Sports. Kicking you off the little Independence Day edition here. We're going to go through some mid-year awards. So keep in mind, these are loosely based off of the World MMA Awards that will be coming out in the next few days. But I'm doing it a little bit differently here, and I'm only going from the start of 2020 to present date. So January 1st, 2020 through this moment right now, this is what we're talking about. Nothing prior to that point. So all of these awards are solely based on that. Keep that in mind. So starting it off, we're going to take a look at the Breakthrough Fighter of the Year. Breakthrough Fighter of the Year, for me personally, has to go to Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns has competed multiple times already under this calendar year, and he will be competing for a title fight in the next few weeks against Kamaru Usman. It's hard to say that somebody that went from being a relatively unknown name to the common fan to now he's in the title contender equation. Got to be Gilbert Burns for that one. International Fighter of the Year, I'm giving that to Weili Zhang, with the honorable mention being Gilbert Burns. I mean, Zhang being a champion, and her having that incredible fight with Joanna, for me, it's an easy choice to call her the International Fighter of the Year, being that she's a champion. Knockout of the Year, I'm giving that to Cody Garbrandt against Rafael Assunção. When he had that knockout that pretty much with that right hand started from all the way down back behind his knee, that went through with that violent finish, I was blown away from that. That's one of the craziest knockouts that I've ever seen in my entire life watching fights. So congratulations, Cody. The Submission of the Year, none other than Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell with the twister against Matt Sales. There's only been 2 twisters in the entire history of the UFC. The other one was Korean Zombie way back in the day. So for me, it was an easy choice. Thug Nasty with the pure domination. Almost had a second twister for that matter against Charles Rosa earlier this year. Then we're going to take a look at the upset of the year. This came all the way back in January. This was Roxanne Modafferi over Macy Barber. Now, Macy did get injured during that fight, but it's not to say that Roxanne was not already winning up to that point, in my opinion. Macy will be back. Macy will be one of the top contenders for years to come, just because she's that good, and she does have the drive to be able to continue to propel herself toward UFC gold. However, Roxanne was the heavy underdog in this contest, so her pulling off the victory against Macy in the fashion that she did gets her the nod for this upset of the year. Comeback Fight of the Year. This one was tough because your heartstrings pull in a couple of different directions as far as this fight goes. But if I were to say Comeback Fight of the Year, I'm going to give that to Alistair Overeem against Walt Harris. Walt Harris almost finished Alistair early in that fight. That first couple of minutes of that first round, Walt Harris came out and just blitzed the Demolition Man. He hit him with a lot of heavy shots. Alistair had to endure a lot of adversity within that fight, but he was ultimately able to turn the ship around and pull off the victory with TKO in the second round against Walt Harris. Comeback Fighter of the Year, Cody Garbrandt. Cody had been looking at 3 straight knockout losses in a row, comes back and picks up a knockout win and looked good in the process. Looked fast, crisp, was smooth in and out. I think that we're going to see Cody making a push back toward that title contention situation. Keep in mind that Cody is still young. Cody was 25 when he was first the world champion, so he still has a lot of time left. It's just a matter of, can he mitigate the damage that he's taken. Then, if we are going to look at the Coach of the Year so far, there's a lot of coaches out there that have had fighters that have seen some success through the first portion of this year, but there's one fight that sold this one to me, and this coach doesn't happen to have a whole lot of fighters that are out there in general anymore, but Coach Trevor Whitman, the game plan that he had to get and the relationship that he was able to display and just the way that they work so well together. Trevor Whitman and Justin Gaethje from that fight against Tony Ferguson, that was one of the most incredibly fought battles amidst controlled chaos that I've probably seen in a long time with Justin and Tony in there. If we're going to look at Manager of the Year, I'm going to give that nod to Jason House of Iridium Sports Agency. You know, if you look at the breakdown of percentage of what management firm has fighters that have signed to the UFC within this year, Iridium is definitely up there, if not the highest. You know, a lot of these COVID cards have gotten guys some short notice opportunities. A large portion of them have been Jason House's fighters. Personality of the Year, Joe Rogan. Enough said. Analyst of the Year, I give this to Robin Black. I thoroughly love watching Robin Black breakdowns. He's not on any sort of major card or platform like ESPN or anything to that effect, but Robin Black to me is as good as it gets when it comes to breakdown. But I will give the honorable mention to DC. The Media Outlet of the Year, MMA Junkie. The best MMA program, for me, it's going to be the JRE MMA show. The MMA Journalist of the Year up to this point, and there was a very close second, but I give the nod to Brett Okamoto, and the honorable mention goes to John Morgan of MMA Junkie. John Morgan is a trailblazer. He's out there every single week on the road. He's the first question in these media pressers. So shout out to John Morgan. That blue polo is in the midst everywhere. The model of consistency. Fighting Spirit Award. There's a couple of guys that I believe deserve to have honors here. You have to give recognition, whether you love him or hate him, to Conor McGregor and his PPE donation that he gave in his native country, Ireland, during the pandemic. And you can never not give recognition to Dustin Poirier and the Good Fight Foundation for all of the philanthropic work that they do within their community down there in Lafayette, Louisiana. The Colorado Fighter of the Year, and this one is not including UFC fighters. This one goes to Grant Neal. Colorado Fighter of the Year, including UFC fighters, Justin Gaethje. There are two honorable mentions for me. Yusuf Zalal and Drew Dober both have 2 wins within the UFC in 2020, so they get honorable mentions. The Colorado Female Fighter of the Year goes to Pauline Pita Macias. The Colorado Amateur Fighter of the Year is going to go to Markel Medeiros, who in March won the Colorado Combat Club Lightweight Championship. The Colorado Rising Star of the Year. Now, I came up with this one on my own just as someone who, you know, is maybe not known to a lot, but is, in my opinion, someone that's worth keeping your eye on and is going to be on, someone who is a name that you'll see more and more throughout the years, and that's Zach Paunga. He is an NFL level athlete who brings just top tier athleticism. Like I say, he's competed at the highest level in multiple sports, and he's a heavyweight who's that big, that fast, that strong, that durable. And he's a gamer. He took a fight on all of a couple of days' notice in, I believe it was January early this year, and comes out with the win. So he trains with elite level heavyweights like Curtis Blades and Alistair Overeem already. Zach Paunga is a name to keep your eye on as the time passes, because you just don't get people that are that big that have those sort of tools within their skill set. If we take a look at the Fighter of the Year, has to go to Justin Gaethje to me. You know, what he was able to do to beat the Boogeyman and snap El Kukui's streak was masterful. There's nothing else that can be said about that fight. Justin fought the perfect fight against Tony Ferguson, and is going to have the chance at some point to be able to unify that title. Obviously, that may have some sort of a change in terms of the timeline due to the recent news of Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov passing away. So, you know, T's and C's out there, or thoughts and prayers out to Habib. Nobody wants to have to deal with that loss of a close loved one that way. Female Fighter of the Year, that goes to Weili Zhang. And then Fight of the Year, that's going to be Zhang against Joanna. That is the mid-year comments from the Peanut Gallery and the MMA Plug powered by Mile High Sports 2020 Fight Awards. Like I say, that is from the time frame of the beginning of January 2020 through the end of June, so essentially That's 6 months worth of action. These are our mid-year awards. I'm Jordan Kurtz with comments from the Peanut Gallery and the MMA Plug powered by Mile High Sports. Thank you very much for tuning in.